So yeah, complex fractions are fractions of fractions. We are not going to work this one all the way out, but I think if I write you one with numbers, you see better what you need to do. So my question to you here, this is a complex fraction. It's got fractions inside another fraction. What would you do first? You would have to, yes, you would have to make common denominators for top and bottom. Okay, once you got those added together, you'd have a fraction over a fraction. Once you've got it down to one fraction over one fraction, then what are you allowed to do? What did we do before where we had a fraction divided by a fraction? Back it up. What'd you do? Whoops, too far. You have a fraction divided by a fraction. What'd you all tell me to do? First thing, flip it over, multiply by the reciprocal. So if you get, once you get this one, once you get these added together, actually we could do that. 3 6 and 4 6 you would get. This one would turn out to be 7 6 over 7 tenths. What would you do once you had 7 6 over 7 tenths? You're scaring me. How do you divide fractions? You times by the reciprocal of the second one, the bottom one. So you'd multiply by 10/7. You'd flip it over and then you'd cancel. Okay, so once you get it combined, then so the first step is to make the common denominators. The second step is multiply by the reciprocal and cancel. The only difference is you get to do it with variables in it instead of numbers. Let's face it, the variables will be easier. Not a problem. So, and by the way, I'm about to do, I'm not expecting you to do anything any harder than this, and some of yours are considerably easier than this. There's only 3 total. Plus 3. Okay. The key thing is make sure you copy one of these down right, because it's really a painful thing if you discover after you've done all the work that you just copy it right. Okay, so we just said first step, do what? Make common denominators. Yeah. So, and notice the top denominator on the top, common denominator does not have to be the same as on the bottom. They can be 2 totally different things. You don't have to worry about that. So this is a minus, and then we got another x plus 2 and x minus 2. Okay, so let's just get the top done. The first fraction is missing what? It needs an x minus 2. So if I multiply by x minus 2 on top, that's going to give me what? Oh, that's not bad. It's tolerable. Second fraction is missing. So it gets multiplied by x plus 2. Okay, now here's where you have a choice. There's this minus out here between them. We can leave it a minus and deal with it later. Or we can think of this as negative 3 and distribute it right now as a negative 3, changing it to a plus sign in between them. Which one strikes you? Change it to a plus? That would be my choice. I would change it to a plus. So I would make this a plus, and so I'm multiplying by negative 3, which would make that become negative 3x minus 6. So the key thing is negative signs. Distribute them. Whatever you do, distribute negative signs. I can't say it enough. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and finish this top, because this is the stuff I see forgotten all the time. We get the common denominator made, and then I get people who go hog wild crazy and start canceling it again. If you factor and cancel this, you'll get back to what you started with. You just have gone in a circle. Add the terms together. Add like terms across here. What will you have? and x squared. I got 5 x's and a minus 6. So get that thing added together. So, okay, top done. You get to do it again. No moaning. Tell yourself, I'm accomplishing a mountain here. It almost looks like a mountain. So, now what's the common denominator on the bottom? You need one of each, so not any big deal. So the top will get multiplied by, or the first fraction, I should say. You know the color. It's doing it again. It locked up. You worm, I need 5 minutes. Okay, see? You call it a worm, it fixes itself. All right, so if I'm multiplying by x plus 3, what will I have? 3x squared plus 9x. Okay. Once again, for the moment, I'm going to let the minus sit there. We may decide to distribute it. We may not. We'll see what this is looking like. Okay, so second fraction needs to get multiplied by what? It's missing the x minus 2. Okay, so here, now when you're looking at this one, distribute the negative now or FOIL first and then distribute? If you're going to have to FOIL, I tend to think people FOIL better first, and then we'll deal with the negative in a moment. Okay, this is an easy FOIL. Those are conjugates. So what's going to happen? Yeah, the plus 2 and the minus 2 are going to cancel out the middle terms. Those are conjugates. That's just going to be x squared minus 4. So that's better. Now, if it was me, I would go change the signs right now, because otherwise I'll miss it. I'd omit that every time. That's a plus now, and those are minuses. Change all your signs, then add together. So, once again, x squared, 3x squared minus x squared would make 3 minus 1, so that's 2x squared. And then plus 9x plus 4. We don't have any other terms to combine them with. All over the common denominator. Okay, you are 2/3 of the way there. You have a fraction over a fraction. Now the fun part. What do you get to do when you have a fraction divided by a fraction? Right here. So, here we go. Copying the top down as is, not changing the top fraction. It's happy. Eating up lots of paper. The trees are happy to sacrifice for your ability to do rational functions. You'll recycle, and it can be another homework assignment someday. Okay, so we flipped. Now, can I do anything? Can I go down any further? I can't go down further. The x minus 2's will cancel. But, those are trinomials. Hi, Andrew. You missed the end of this. You can see the end of the problem now. Okay, those are trinomials. Do they factor? They do. So we need to break those down too and make sure. There might be lots of things that will cancel. Question is 2 and 3 or 6 and 1? Unfortunately, 6 and 1. I wanted 2s and 3s. But no, it's 6 and 1. Minus 6 and plus 1, darn it. So that's not looking real optimistic for canceling. Okay, what about this other trinomial over here? Will it cancel? That's our factor, I should say. It's 2. It does actually work. 2x and x. 4 and 1. If you get the 4 out here and make 8x and 1x, you'll get 9x in the middle. And I always look at this problem and go, wow, look at all those. Surely I can cancel a whole bunch of stuff. It's the most disappointing problem ever. I'm sorry. You do all that, it factors beautifully, and no. The only thing you can ditch is the x minus 2's. So how do you write the answer? You just do not have to multiply these together. You just write your answer as all those factors. This is so evil. This is about as evil as it can get right here. The only thing is more evil is I can throw trig functions in it. We do these with trig functions in them. So that's your end problem. You'll love it. Trust me. If it makes you feel any better, to me this is the worst algebraic assignment of the chapter. Because next class, I'm going to let you cancel all the denominators out and ditch them, so it'll be better. By the way, I should say this. Every single problem you're doing today says simplify, 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 simplify. Next class, we're going to solve. When you're simplifying, you have to make common denominators and do all this algebra. When they're solving, we will be able to ditch them. It is better. So there's a